Emotional intelligence is important for your relationships. And one focus that can help you in your relationships is the competence of organizational awareness. This is about being aware of the emotional currents, of the dynamics of your relationships. When this was coined, it was more to do with organizations or workplaces, but emotional intelligence works across all types of relationships. And when you are competent in organizational awareness, that means you can understand the emotional currents of your relationship, which means you are aware of your emotions, your triggers, how you behave when you are triggered, how you feel when you are triggered, and what you say or do. And the same applies to your partner. You need to understand their moods, what affects their mood, and what they do when they are triggered, and what topics or what things trigger them mostly. How this helps you is when you have conflict. How this helps you is when you want to communicate with your partner. How this helps you is when you wake up in the morning or your partner is coming back home or you are both coming back home to each other. Because when you then understand their non-verbal cues or how they communicate or how they react when they are triggered, it is easy for you to choose your battles. We are not encouraging you to walk on eggshells in your relationships, but equally, we are encouraging you to be aware of your environment, because when you know what triggers somebody, yes, sometimes you need to walk on eggshells, not forever, but there are moments when you need to be mindful of what you are going to do and what you are going to say. And the same applies to your partner. There are moments when they have to walk on eggshells around you. We are not saying this is going to be habitual, something that happens often, but it's about being aware of what might trigger you, or you being aware of what might trigger them or what might worsen their triggers. Because obviously, when they are in a particular mood, they are pre-triggered. So you then coming to them with pressure, or you are pre-triggered by something, you've got a stressor, your partner then coming to you with something else can just worsen the impact of your triggers or can set you off. So this is what we are trying to avoid. And sometimes you might not set someone off in a way that they are reactive violently towards you verbally or otherwise, but their mood might just worsen. And you are needing to be team enough to understand this and to understand each other and have compassion for each other. You might say to me, well, maybe they need to communicate. Yes, and that is important also. For you, if you know that you are triggered, you are pre-triggered, you've got something going on in your life, maybe that has happened today at work, you need to communicate to your partner, I'm going to need space today. And if you communicate in this manner, you might also inspire them to do the same. Maybe they will also say when they are triggered from work, I am going to take a bit of space because I am feeling offish today. And what some people do, the reason why I am coming up with this is when a partner comes and they are in an off mood and they say, maybe I'm not in the mood to talk today. Sometimes it's not spoken nicely, but that is enough information for you as a wise person to just give them space. But what do people do sometimes? They take that personally. And it becomes about them, and then it becomes a major issue. But what you are disregarding is this person has already been irritable, and it doesn't have to be all about you. Life is not all about you. They have other aspects of their life which might be in a crisis, and you just need to give them space enough to feel safe to come to you. When people are not pressured, when people are not hounded about how they are feeling, when people are not prompted about their feelings or to share their feelings, they can eventually feel safe enough to express what is going on in their lives. And if they don't, I wouldn't take it personally or want to take it upon myself to be someone's therapist. If they don't want to share, then they don't want to share. It's one problem of me. It would be nice for them to share because I would like to be there for them as my partner, but you can't force people to feel safe when they don't. And sometimes their lack of safety isn't really that you have a problem, but that they still need time to process a certain something first within themselves. People need to be foremost their go-to person before they make you their go-to person. Because we all need to practice our freedom and independence and autonomy and self-parent ourselves as we have an inner parent to nurture us. All you need to do is to hold space, to be on standby just in case you are needed by your partner. So this is also important to understand and to appreciate and to acknowledge. At the same time, you are needing the dichotomy of control, to let go of things outside your control, to trust and allow people to know and do what is best for themselves, and to trust them to nurture themselves if they want to take that route and not share with you. As long as they are not doing any harm to you, you need to let go. So just understand their emotional currents. And this is also why you need to both learn tools to regulate yourselves so that you are not escalating situations that can be handled in a mature and balanced and peaceful way. This is when you can minimize dysfunctional conflict. This is when you can minimize triggering each other unnecessarily if you use tools to manage and parent yourself. At the same time, whilst using those tools, you need to learn communication skills so that you de-escalate conflict initially by not triggering your partner or worsening a pre-existing trigger because you've got agents or you feel agency to talk to them, or you feel anxious about their mood because you are thinking that if they are not happy about something, then they are not happy with you. Let your partner find peace or feel at peace when they are around you, and peace not being that you are their comforter or their co-parent in the moment, but peace being that you allow them to process their emotions without pressure. When then they are calmer, when then they show a positive mood, if they don't come forward on their own, perhaps you can also approach them and find out from them what was going on. Are you okay now? I noted you were looking offish, or you did sound like you were off the other day or yesterday. And then maybe they would dismiss it because they probably have dealt with it, or they might then volunteer information. But the most important thing is to allow people to step forward on their own, to volunteer on their own, to share their struggles or to share their emotional challenges or emotional triggers. But it is not your job to try and pressure them to communicate. And it is not your job to try and parent them when they don't need your co-parenting. People know where they feel safe. Maybe they have dealt with somebody else. They have had support from a friend, or they are in therapy. This is why people need a village. This is why people need support systems and a circle. This is why people need love on 3 levels, because there might be one person to whom your partner can go and they can get support and feel safer. And there shouldn't be any issue around this as long as your relationship remains intact and healthy. As long as your partner can share what they are happy and free to share. People come into relationships with a lot of trauma. People come into relationship with a lot of challenges. People come into relationships with a set of patterns that are acquired from childhood. And it's difficult if you are trying to change somebody to be what you are or how you are. It's difficult for you to try and prompt someone to feel a certain way, because feelings are internal, feelings are personal, feelings are individual. So what you need to do is to allow this person to decide whether they want to trust you enough to share with you. But not sharing their struggles, their deeper struggles, doesn't mean to say you are not a good partner. It just is that they have deeper struggles that might not be peeled layer by layer until they trust you. And it might take a very long time. And depending on how you behave and how you respond to their emotional currents with your own emotional currents, they might or might not even feel safe around you. So this is why it is important to understand how people feel, to understand how people respond, people moods, people's triggers, people's pre-triggers. You are needing to know those things. And sometimes it's good to find out, when you start dating somebody, what their deepest fears are, what things or topics trigger them, what they do or how they behave when they are angry or upset, and maybe also observe. Because that data, that information can help you then navigate a relationship with a partner, because you know how to support them, you know what to steer clear of, and you know how then to approach them when it feels safe or when it is safe to approach them. This is essential for conflict resolution and for a healthy relationship. At the same time, you both need to have boundaries so that none of you becomes a punching bag for someone else's moods.